Games, Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life here, and we are doing 10 things we hate about Gojira, the heavy metal band. We, of course, adore this band. We love this fucking band. Go check out the 10 things we love. But this is, as always, a two-tiered, two-pronged series of videos, and we have to do 10 things we hate, even if it's impossible and it just turns into a joke, which is what you're about to experience. You start the love, I'll start the hate. Now, I'll be surprised you don't have this one, because once you know it, you're kind of like, well, that's still shit. In 1996, when they first started, they were called Gojira, which is a terrible name. Now, I know Gojira means exactly the same fucking thing, but we're going to call ourselves Godzilla. The fuck? That's just terrible. Oh, Gojira, at least that sounds a bit cooler. Yeah. Godzilla, terrible name.
I don't have it. I did know that. I did see that. But I didn't have quite so much of an issue with it. So I'm going to start off with what are they talking about. I know English isn't their first language, but some of their lyrics are very hard to interpret. A load of metal bands have different primary language. You can still really easily read into their lyrics and grab the meaning within. But I find with Gojira, that's not always the case. So I just put a few examples, like so, from the song Magma. And I know I'm taking snippets of it here, but I was reading through the songs and I'd be like, oh, yeah, this is the bit. I was like, what are you actually talking about?
Go on.
He goes, you are now high, in the sun, burn, you're away, alive, on the moon, round. And actually, when you take that out of the music of that and you just read it like that, you go like...
That's nonsense.
That's pretty shit, isn't it?
It's just nonsense. You literally are the same words.
And then in the song Flying Whales, so much told with no words at all, powerful presence for only speech, breath.
It was always good until the breath part.
Yeah, it was alright up to that point, and then it just goes, breath.
Fair enough.
So yeah, sometimes find their lyrics a little difficult to find the meaning within.
Okay, I'll go for a joke one next. They're a little too obsessed with whales. Just a little bit. Like, you're a bit like, come on, guys. They're all right, aren't they? I mean, whales. Why are you so obsessed with them? What about all the other? What about an octopus? You know? What about a simple guppy? Why a whale?
Yeah. Poor guppies.
We're not taking this that seriously.
No. Although this is relative.
There are some serious ones.
Serious-ish ones. Because, and my next one is that I find Gojira were way too quirky in their early days.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of their early work at all, and I'm talking like albums like The Link, Terra Incognita. There are songs here and there that I don't mind, but I do not like them as albums.
Cool.
And I just, it's really rare for me to love a band so much while massively disliking such a huge amount of their music.
Interesting, yeah.
You know? So yeah, there you go.
Well, I'll follow that up with a serious one as well. Right, for me, and it's a concern really, and I guess it shows the fickle nature of the music business, but for me there's still a glass ceiling above Gojira, and they are now one mediocre release away, and that will be it, and they're straight back down. This is like watching them climb up an arduous hill. We've got a pack full of fucking weights in them, and they're unbalancing all the way up, and it's just going to take one album, the next album, that might just be like, yeah, it's all right. And that's it, they're falling back down that hill and they won't ever get back. It happened to Machine Head. It's the same sort of thing. One, not controversial, wrong word. One, what's the word looking for? Where it's split an audience, where some people like it, some people don't like it. Yeah. One where it's not considered an impactful release, a game changer, as it were. I think that will be it for Gojira. I think this is their one and only opportunity. And I'm sure they're aware of that. They've been in the game long enough for this. I'm sure they're very aware of that. And there'll be plenty of people happy enough to stamp on their fingers too.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Absolutely. I think the best thing that, I know this might be not the normal thing, but the best thing that they could do with their next album, honestly, is to play it safe.
Yeah.
And that is to give more of what's been given in the previous two. If they suddenly decide to go madly down the progressive route again, get quirky, try some really weird and interesting ideas out, that could be a killer for them.
Could backfire.
And the best thing they could do is say, here's another 10, L'Enfant Sauvage or Magma. Another 10 good songs.
Yeah.
Just to steady that kind of ship, you know?
I'm down with you, I agree with you. Look at us getting all serious.
Yeah. I've kind of carried on with the early day stuff a little bit, which was, this is almost identical. But it's hard to feel these things sometimes. But I just pointed out the fact that I remember the disappointment of, so I got into Gojira through L'Enfant Sauvage. I had listened to songs previously, I'd listened to albums previously, but I'd never ever got into it. And because of that, I'd never really even listened properly to songs, say like Love or Flying Whale or anything like that. because I just didn't like the album, so I never went back to them. So L'Enfant Sauvage came out, I loved it, and then it was great because, like, when you get with these bands, you're like, oh, I love this album so much, and I got 4 or 5 albums to go back and listen to.
Yeah.
I don't really remember not liking them. I remember listening to them before and going, yeah, but maybe I like them now because, like, in theory, I shouldn't like this album.
Yep.
And then I remember going back and being really disappointed that, you know, like, I found this new band that I'm now into, and I got 4 or 5 albums to go back and listen to, and I didn't like any of them. Or not, sorry, I didn't like them as albums. On every single album they've released, I can pick a song or 2 out.
Yeah.
But only when I get to L'Enfant Sauvage could I start saying, I love the album.
Right.
You know?
It's really interesting
Yeah.
that's the case, you know? Okay, after all that seriousness, let's have a joke one. They're French, it's that, you know, and obviously living in England, we've got to dislike the French because of war-related stuff, I think.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, I think so. I don't really know. I think it's the stuff from, like, the 1400s, isn't it, about the snooty French and all that sort of stuff.
Of course it is. Of
White
course it
flags
is.
and all that.
Yeah, it's all that
I mean,
sort of
Gojira
shit.
have done really, really well now, so what we should expect them to do is to put a white flag up and surrender and run. Apparently. But anyway, we don't mean this.
Oh, you think? Of course, yeah, but really, really, really struggling. Be honest, in all seriousness, it kind of ties into your sort of lyrical content, and some is just the way he sings, which is obviously strong accent, can obviously sometimes overpower
it can
certain things.
But the only reason I'm not forgiving him for it is purely because, like, you know, we listen to, I don't know, Brazilian metal, Polish metal, Japanese metal, Indian metal, you know, and I don't find, like, when they sing, and a lot of them do sing in English, you know, that I don't know if they've just got better translators or something like that actually they get their message across really well, whereas I sometimes feel with Gojira, it's like he has all these ideas in his head but doesn't quite know how to put them down, you know.
It's weird as well because France doesn't actually produce that many great big bands. When I started,
really,
because when I was thinking of this, I was like, well, think of other French metal bands, and I've got Abduction. But that's more a band I learned about recently, and I'm like, Ethan. Oh, okay, there we go. We've got 2, but no, like,
I mean, Gojira are by far the biggest.
That's what I was about to say.
I can think of, like, by you know, some distance.
Yeah,
as well, you know?
like, put something else. You can think of all the other countries. You think of a great Polish band, Finnish, Swedish, Russian, and it's like get to France, and you're like,
I was about to start doing it. You said Polish band, I was going to go decapitate. Finish. Just got to stop that.
Well, yeah, there you go. Yeah, joke on.
I don't think a lot of people will agree with this next one, and I'm not sure I agree with it myself either. But I do worry about it, and I worry that they've already peaked.
Ooh, interesting.
For me, like I've maybe mentioned once or twice already, I'm not a fan of the early work. I'm not a massive fan anyway. So I'm kind of at the foot of the mountain here. And then L'Enfant Sauvage came out, and I think it's a banger of an album. Like I don't think there's a bad song on it. I think it's an end-to-end fantastic piece of work. So that's my peak of the mountain. I like Magma, but I don't think Magma's as good as L'Enfant Sauvage.
Agreed.
So to me, this was like the start of coming down the other side of the mountain. And like we've said a few times already, that next album is like the continuation of the downward slope, or we go back up.
Yep.
So it's absolutely critical, but I do worry that in my trend of, it's not really about the band as a whole, it's more about my feelings towards them, where I've disliked so much, and then I've loved that, and then I like that. It's more a chance that I'm going to dislike their music than there is like it. So for me personally, I worry that my love of Gojira has already hit its peak.
Right.
You know?
Well, it kind of ties into this one, which is, for me, coming off L'Enfant Sauvage, Magma wasn't quite the world beater I wanted it to be. Now, that's a personal thing, because Magma did incredibly fucking well. Well received and all that. And I do really, really like it. It's got one of my favourite Gojira songs on it. But when if you would have said to me, rank Gojira albums, Magma's not going top, you know? Exactly as you said. Yeah.
Cool. So my next one then is that they are a Glasgow band. And I hate that. I hate that they play Glastonbury. I really do. Like, you know, Glastonbury is quite connected to my extended family.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember saying to people like, oh, you know, Gojira are going to play there, you should try and check them out. And everyone's like, whatever.
Yeah.
We've got our own things to see.
Same year
Yeah,
as
I
Venom
was trying
Prism
to-
and all that,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
exactly. Yeah, when they put on the, I think it was Napalm. Was it Napalm?
Might have been Napalm, yeah.
Who had like the tent, and they played them at like things like 3 in the morning and 4 in the morning, on a bit way outside the actual festival site, so that they were kind of kept away from everybody else, like this dirty little secret. And I hate that Gojira were there, and I've seen videos from it, and apparently it looked like it went quite well for them. But I just kind of feel like, you know what, like they're ours. You know, you don't respect them, you don't deserve them. You know, the fact that you put them on at these ridiculous times,
Novelty
and
act,
everything
like a novelty act.
yeah, like, oh, look what we put on over in the corner. There are more than enough metal festivals in the world with some pretty fucking huge crowds.
Mm-hmm.
And Gojira don't really need to muddy their feet by playing alongside the likes of Taylor Swift and Stormzy. Give them back.
Give 'em-
They're ours.
Sticking with Magma, so Stranded off Magma. Song drives me nuts because once I fucking hear it, I cannot get out of my head for fucking days. That bow, bow, bow. Yeah, Jesus. And it is stuck in there for fucking ages and they're kicking in the drums. It's a wonderful, wonderful track, but I hate the fact that I just get it so stuck. Ages.
Cool. Uncategorizable as a band. God, that annoys me. Yeah, those people, we love to shoehorn everything into a specific box of genre, and these bastards are bloody hard to categorise.
Yeah.
You know, some people like call them. Well, we know they're progressive, right?
There's that.
We know they're technical. They get classed as technical death, progressive death. I don't really always get the death aspect of them. I know that they're heavy and they sometimes do the guttural sort of thing. I don't know if they're just progressive metal, maybe
Melodic.
or, you know, post metal.
Mm.
I don't know. You know what I mean? There's so many things, and I don't know what to call them, and it annoys me.
Talk about things that annoy me. They may never write a better song than The Gift of Guilt. That is generally, I kind of believe that's probably the case. I think it just happens to a lot of bands where they just sometimes hit fucking gold in one particular track, and it's like, will you ever really write anything better? You'll probably write great songs or songs that are as good as, but better. Like one like, shit, that is better than The Gift of Guilt. Unlikely.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so we're getting quite silly now.
Okay.
I suppose it's kind of true actually, but occasionally with Gojira, I find them too technical and too quirky to headbang to.
You can't get a rhythm.
It's like there's a problem with these progressive technical types trying to follow a song, catch the beat, and headbang along with it. Yeah, there's constant switches in pace, sudden stops, transitions. And that quirky edge is liable to leave your head banging to the wrong tempo or beat until you look like a fucking idiot. Or you're still going like that and the song's changed. And, oh, what do I do now? Or cause some sort of injury. And I did point in brackets, like, yes, I am struggling for these now.
Okay, well, my next one is still pretty serious, only in more of a personal thing. So, Gojira's cover art of all, and this is all their albums, I don't particularly like them. I don't think they're very good.
Yeah.
Most, all of them, really. There's nothing stand out. There's nothing I'm like, oh, that's iconic. It's just, oh, okay, that's something. Yeah, don't really care for it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I agree, actually. I didn't put that down. I should probably put that down in some of the other shit. I wrote that they're so clean, especially Joe. The guy just needs to dress down a bit. He looks way too clean and well groomed. He's like nicely dressed, generally very tidy, hair's all nice. You know, just stop making us look bad, Joe. Mess your hair up or something.
You reckon? I reckon. I always thought it more looks like they've just rolled out of bed. Look.
I think he's like a Hollywood fucking superstar, man. He's always like in black jeans, a black t-shirt, boot. He's well groomed. He's always got a nicely groomed beard, beautiful fucking brill creamed hair, or whatever they fucking puts in it. He's a good looking bloke, like genuinely. And I look at him and I think like, I don't know, man, just some hairs out of place, something like that to make the messy fuckers in the crowd in front of you feel a bit better about ourselves. Oh look, he can sing, play guitar. Oh, and he's fit.
Oh no, get. So in a Love video, I mentioned how it was a nice thing, or a love thing I love was that they were even nominated for a Grammy. They were nominated for 2 in 2017. However, unsurprisingly, they lost. Of course they lost. I will say one of the categories they lost out for, they actually lost out to Mastodon. So, you know.
That's fucking ridiculous. Sorry, carry on.
But the other one really had me scratch my head. So, for Best Rock Album, so they lost out, Magma lost out to an album called A Deeper Understanding. Do you know that album?
No.
Do you know the band? The War on Drugs.
All right.
Who the fuck are the War on Drugs?
I thought that was a fucking manifesto pledge.
That's the band, The War on Drugs.
Fair enough.
Rock album.
I don't even know it now.
Who are they? Huh? Now I know it's a Grammys and it's wank anyway, but I've never heard of this band. I've never heard of this band. And to me, in 2017, not hearing of a rock band who won a Grammy is head scratching. And it makes me go, is this actually a rock band? Or is it like an indie rock band?
Yeah.
And that's probably, and then it's like, well, now you're lumping indie in with Gojira and Master. Okay, so it's not really, you're still not taking it seriously then.
Like, it is, like, Grammys annoy me anyway.
Yeah, it's nonsense.
Even in all the stuff we've discussed here. Like, as good as Magma is, it's not even their best album. If you're going to nominate them for a Grammy, it should have been after L'Enfant Sauvage.
That's exactly it.
You know?
Yeah, and to choose as well, like Silveria, as the track. It's
Yeah.
like, really?
She's Stranded. Like, Stranded's the big fucking hit from that.
From that one, that's the video and everything, yeah.
Anyway, there you go.
Got one more.
Never get our heads around the mainstream. I think I've got 2 left. All right. Obviously not with full intent.
Okay.
But I do think Gojira probably should practice what they preach a little bit. Let's look at Gojira at Bloodstock, for example, using high-powered screens as backdrops, fireworks, flying confetti all over us while telling us to stop polluting the earth. Surely they should be, if anything, on a blank stage with no show whatsoever, playing woodwind instruments. You know? Turn those fucking electric guitars off then. I don't mean that.
It's a good one.
It wouldn't have the same impact when it's stranded on a flute.
It's a good one though, I like it. All right, my last one, and it is the laziest thing I could come up with. It is the laziest, and it's simple. Truth be told, and you've done this where you've written it, I don't like doing this list as your last one. Mine is simply, I don't think they're a band I can hate.
Yeah.
Like, I think there are things I can be a bit like, meh, not a big fan of that, but hate or dislike Gojira or anything about them. Everything I've written.
Yeah, I remember doing that one.
Stupid.
I hate I have to write this list.
Yeah. So I was inspired.
I've just kind of blamed Gojira for something. That's not their fault for my last one. So it's not the fans' fault at all. But maybe Gojira should call the fans out on this.
Go on.
But this eco band, writing and releasing these powerful statements around the destruction of the earth by rubbish and plastic waste. And then a load of people at every show bring a plastic inflatable fucking whale to chuck in the air and onto the floor during flying whales. This is stupidity at its finest. Not the band's fault. They never tell them not to. I don't know. Maybe they don't see it. Maybe they don't care or whatever. But I find it really hard to understand the logic of a fan who's listening to this band and all the video screens and everything. And during the fucking song about killing the fucking whales, decide this is when I throw the plastic whales all around the place. And then as you all leave and you see it all scattered and deflated all over the ground, you think like, yeah, didn't quite get the message there, did you guys? Yeah,
it ties into that thing in the Love video about them not really being preachy about it, I guess. Yeah. But you make a very, very valid point, It's this kind of silliness of where fans more than anything really than that. And it's like, well, if you paid attention, you'd be like, I can't bring a plastic whale to a fucking Gojira show. That's
make
embarrassing.
A whale out of recyclable wood.
Yeah.
And then try and throw that.
There you go. The laziest 10 things we hate. Yeah. But it is about Gojira. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/GBHBL, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?